Welcome to Smart House, a Pittsburgh podcast about smart technology, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and the future. I'm your host, Dustin Dowling, and with me today is comedian and writer Kate Hamilton. Thanks for coming, Kate.
I'm so absolutely thrilled to be here, Dustin.
I'm sorry. I immediately I feel sarcasm. What is with that?
Actually, I run into that a lot. I'm a truly genuine person.
Okay.
People assume that when I'm being genuine that I'm just being a huge bitch. I don't know why. Like, it happens all the time. Like, if someone holds the door for me, I'm like, oh, thank you. They're like, okay, never mind. Slam it in my face.
It's tough, too, because I'm reading the script and I just hear that. I'm like, not on my show immediately. That's not how we're doing it. Well,
I mean it. I love making appearances.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, you are a comedian, so I'm sorry that I assumed that maybe you were taking a jab at me. So what are you up to in the comedy scene, and are you working on anything right now?
Well, I'm always trying to work on some new things. I kind of hit a point about a month ago where I just hated everything I've ever done comedy-wise, and I hated all of my jokes. So I've been doing somewhat of an overhaul where I've been writing a lot and just having like a sit at home and generate content party with myself. But I've been challenging myself more. I think that like my first impulse as a comedian was to tell a lot of stories because I'm a playwright first. And now I'm trying to have a little bit more balance of like more jokey things and then stories. I don't know.
You sound like the creator, like you just figure it out. You seem like you described every entertainer I see now on social media. Like You're just doing everything, trying to figure stuff out.
Yeah, but it's been good. I have some things coming up at the end of the month and then into June, so I'm excited about that.
So when you say some things, is that stand-up, right?
Yeah, I have stand-up shows, and then I have golly, what was the other thing I have going? Oh, this weekend I'm doing the 48-hour film festival.
Oh,
so I'm writing for that.
That's cool. So I've done a couple of those. Yeah. By the way, have you done any before?
No,
none.
No.
Well, are you just writing?
I'm just writing.
Oh, okay. Is there a whole team then?
Well, yeah, there's a whole team.
How many people's on your team?
God, I don't even know. It's so stressful because I keep adding more people.
That actually sounds good.
Yeah, so it's like there's a ton of people. It should be good. I think there's like 3 other people who are writing and then 4 actors.
Well, you have 4 separate writers.
Yeah.
Wow. So do you have it figured out now? Like, okay, you got plot, you got dialogue, is there any type of strategy happening?
I just feel like I'm gonna end up being tyrannical. Like I'm just like, this is the story.
Yeah, exactly. No. So this, my, what happened to me was, it was like we had people, we had actors, we kind of had like, okay, directing and sort of writing. And then once it started, it was just like crazy. And towards at one point, I was like, all right, you're all done. I'm in charge. I'm the only one in charge. I'm writing. It was because it was like, so like, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to do this. And we were getting nowhere.
Yeah.
And sleep is important, but at least you got a separate writer, then director, and then maybe you have a separate editor.
Yeah, there's like a separate editor. There's all sorts of people. There's like an editor. There's a cinematographer. There's
I think you guys are cheating because the point of the 48 thing is like you can't sleep. If you outsource everything.
It'll be great. It's fun.
It is fun. It's still hard.
Yeah. It'll be a good time, I think.
That's really cool, and that's a great experience, and like usually a lot of people start that way.
Yeah.
So are you using any kind of tech, I guess, for this? Or you said you were emailing people. Is that what is it? Are you talking everyone through email? Is it through Facebook? What is it?
I do email. I do Facebook. I do I communicate. Well, there's a Discord thing. I've never used Discord before, and now I'm on there.
Okay, you're into the Discord. All right.
I'm like,
welcome.
I've actually never written anything on it. I just read everyone else's stuff, and
that's how you start.
Yeah,
that's how you start.
There's a whole like Discord channel for the team, and it's.
Have you had to use Slack before?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess Discord is like nerdier Slack, I think.
Yeah.
Or like, it's...
I only used Slack for this tutoring job that I no longer do. And it was a fully remote tutoring job. And they kept trying to make us bond with everyone else, like the tutors around the country and world. And it was so embarrassing to me because they would just send this stuff.
Corresponding.
Yeah, it would be like, it would all be on Slack and it would be like, use emojis to show me what you like. Do you like books or do you like movies? And everyone's like, I like movies. I just like would not respond. And it would come
draconian.
up. It would come up in like my performance reviews. Like my manager would be like, you need to be nicer on Slack to everyone. And so then I'd really facetiously be like, I like warm puppies and martinis.
It's like you don't have enough flair. That's the same thing. That is insane because what's crazy is I understand the concept of like trying to, but there's a person's job was to tell you like, you are not playing with the rest of your employees. You need to have more swirlies and rainbows and, smiley faces and thumbs ups on everyone's post, please.
Because my impulse would always be just to like post stupid things that the kids I was tutoring said. And they're like, you can't do that. And I was like, well, so what do you want? What do you want?
Like, wait, this is not a shit posting machine. I'm confused. I don't understand. I thought this is so we could talk about the clients, the other people behind their back.
I don't understand what. If I put like a heart emoji next to it, is it better?
That is so true, by the way. You can say anything. There was a show called Corporate on Comedy Central. I just recently got into it. And I binged 3 seasons because after it was, for some reason, they canceled it right before the pandemic. I don't know why. There's a whole episode where the executive is like freaking out over the junior executive because they think he's crazy and upset and mad because he stopped using thumbs up emojis. Same exact email. They'll read it one way with the emoji and then without, it's like he's a demon from hell wanting to murder them all. It's hilarious.
It's so true though, because there's this whole thing now. People are talking to women in the corporate world and they're like, girl, empower yourself. Don't use all those exclamation marks. And it's like,
that was the core part of the episode was he was not using the exclamation marks and they were like arguing over it. Oh, I like how that's such a feminine thing. So like, I guess men don't use the exclamation.
I guess it's like a male is fine to just be like, okay, copy, circle back to me. And women are like, circle back to me. I'm sorry.
You got me going. I think, I recently fell into a version of TikTok of what we're talking about. And one was some kind of like weaponizing like negligence or weaponizing like just being bad at your job. And, like, one was like the executive emailed someone younger or whatever. It was somebody. And they're like, you can check my schedule. I have it all full. Just click on there and find a time. And the person was like, I'm just going to tell you my times, and just typed it all the times. And I was like, all right, I feel that.
That's an interesting part of TikTok you found yourself.
Yes. And I think it's so funny that we're talking about that kind of stuff.
The TikTok section that I'm on right now is like what people feed their dogs. So it's like quail. It's like raw feeding for dogs.
Okay.
So people are like getting quail. I don't have a dog. I will say. But it's like when someone's like, this is the duck head that I give to Beretta. And Beretta's like a Belgian Malinois, like looking there like frothing. And it's like, I give him a duck head, a quail egg. Here's a little bit of powder for his fur. I'm like, this person wants to eat someone's neck. It doesn't need this. This is...
Yeah, it shows, one, the dog's dying because it's not being, it's not getting the right type of nutrition. And 2, it sounds like the other person is just waiting to kill the Uber driver and put them in a pot.
It's so funny to me. It's like, I keep watching them because now every day it's like in my morning 10 minutes on TikTok. It's like, here's what we're feeding today.
This is your prime morning content. Understand? Yeah. That is great. So how much time do you spend on TikTok then?
Well, I've had to limit myself. So I do give myself like 10 minutes a day, or I'll like do 10 minutes, but sometimes I'll get sucked in like on weekends. My rules no longer apply. And then I find myself for hours.
Right,
like,
right.
Whoa, I really could get into the raw dog feeding.
So I am been interested in weird things. It was like harvesting plants in their basement, like regular herbs and stuff. And this guy had a whole business. He was making like 6 figures doing it. I was so into it. no interest in doing it myself.
Yeah.
Would never, don't have the time but I was all into that. And then over time, it either figures out what I want to watch or need to watch. Cause sometimes it knows I'm working in an AI and all of a sudden it's helping me on what I think I need that day. Where if I feel if I'm tired, I just want comedy. It's just oh, here's some cats and dogs. Do you find that happens to you at all?
I find that I don't get the people, I don't get comedy stuff. I don't get people who are trying to be funny or are funny or other people watch, but I think I get things that it's okay, now you put in the labor and make this funny. It's kind of we're feeding you this stuff, with the dog feeding.
Oh my God.
If there's a horrible, there's a weird person who's talking about what they get at Target in friggin' Arkansas, and it's not there's 5 views on it. It's okay, take this lady and you have to make it funny for yourself.
It's you're the output and it's the input. It's switched.
Yeah.
It's completely, that is crazy.
It's truly bizarre.
Oh my God.
Then I'll ask people, I'm oh, did you ever watch that? And they're no. No, we didn't watch that.
I need my algorithm to work that way because it does show me a lot of how to work a camera correctly and how to get a good cinematography shot and how to set up for podcasts. And then I get straight comedy. But you're getting the source of comedy.
Right. I got this woman, I think yesterday, and she was very, very stern. And she just had, her clothes weren't even nice, which gets to the next point. And she was here's how I broke my shopping addiction. And she gives points for how she stopped spending money. And it's well, and she's but I still wear everything that I bought. And I'm looking at it and I'm that's a horrible top. What? You got addicted to that? Jeez.
Oh my God. Do you comment on any of this stuff? Do you feel the need to interact with these people?
Sometimes, but I don't really comment. I mostly just look at it.
You're afraid you're just going to trigger them so
Yeah. The last thing I want is to see them make a response video to my comment.
Yeah. Now they know you'll screw the algorithm up. You don't want to tamper with the good thing.
No, I don't.
What do you think is with the voice of TikTok and the way people talk? Me and you right now, I am excited. You are making me laugh. My voice is I can't control it. When I am on TikTok, there's a trend of everyone I woke up this morning and then I just had a cup of coffee and up there was Tom walking back. They talk like they're suicidal, I think. I don't even know what it is.
It's so interesting you point out there is a very particular cadence with it. And it's yes, what I like to do is I dry the leaves and then I wrap it around my cream cheese. And it's I don't know whether being keto makes them sad or what it is. It's I do.
And then I find that you don't cross this way on the wrist. It's down the road.
Vertical if you mean it.
Vertical. And you get the sense much, much better.
It's bizarre. Well, people are, also it's I think people take on mommy instructional voices. That's another thing I get a lot of. I get a lot of women who treat their boyfriends like their sons, and it's not in a kink way, but just in a he's drunk with the boys and I'm gonna go get him.
Oh, I see that.
He gets in the car and she's who's been a bad boy.
I don't want to say it's a kink way, but it sort of is because actually, if you go on porn sites, you see a lot of that stuff. But actually, the number one app right now, a game app, is one of those weird, I don't even know exactly what happens, but you're either pulling a weird sword or something and then something falls and kills something, or you're hiding from grandma and you're trying to save grandma in a haunted house. Those are the top games. And if you watch the ads to those, it's always this weird, the lady's bent over and then they come over and she's oh no, I dropped something, grandma. What's a scary ghost over there? And the game is Tetris. I don't get it.
That's wild. And I don't even know where to begin on opining on that, but
It gets weirder. The newest ad for this game, which is weird, maybe you'll find it because now I'm putting it out there and your algorithm will grab hold onto it. They hired Pedro Pascal as the lead because the weird storyline in this is something, I'm gonna get this wrong, but this girl was trapped in a house and there's someone chasing her maybe, and the grandma's trying to help her, and maybe it's some kind of mystery story, and then now Pedro is involved somehow. I don't. It's so weird.
That seems sinful, to say the least.
Is it because women have some kind of daddy issues and
I don't
Pedro?
There's something with that guy. I don't really totally get the appeal, but like it's true though. People are like, he is daddy, he is father, whatever.
I think we're getting it's a parent thing. Yeah. We're getting to the issues. We're getting close. We're getting close. We're changing the show. We're gonna be more of psychology.
Yeah, we're gonna discuss. We're gonna dig into why people change their voices.
Yeah, and because I'm afraid society is gonna be walking. Okay, no, you getting the Uber, have a nice day.
Yeah, I can't. I've just never been able to do baby talk. Speaking of that, because it's like I was born like the size of a baby giraffe, and when you're that large, no one baby talks to you. They're like, "Will you do my taxes?" You don't even get it when you're a real baby.
Or they're just like learning for like a basketball or whatever.
Get it when you're a grown woman. Sad, maybe I wanted.
Yeah, maybe you wanted to be a baby, it didn't happen. That is funny because you ever seen like a giraffe being born? It's like, and off.
Yeah,
running.
Yeah, they're falling over themselves, but they're still trying. I just remember going on a date, like it was to the zoo with like some boy. I was in college. And we get up next to it, and it's like, measure yourself against the giraffe. And he's like, babe, go over there.
And you're like, okay, I'm going.
Like, I'd never be like, I'm so little. Yeah. I'm the size of a kneecap. It's like, no, bitch, you are.
You ever watch Always Sunny?
Sometimes.
Yeah, so there's the running joke is they make fun of the sister, the female D.
Yeah.
And they always call her like a big bird. And there's an episode where they're all talking about what happened in the past, and they each have a turn at like talking about their memories. But D gets worse and worse in each memory. So by the last one, she's just a full-grown bird. They're not even acknowledging her as a human person. It's a great joke. It's really, really awesome. All right, now we're really getting off the tech stuff, but that's okay. I'm going to swing it back and ask you about your house. Do you have any tech stuff in your house, like a Google Home or an Echo?
Well, I'm actually currently moving. I came here from building a bed frame, so I'm like brand new in this new place. So I guess I'm going to get one. I've had them like in my family home. Like my mom has an Alexa, and then my grandma has one. But...
So that's funny. That is a typical consumer right now that actually has those because they were just given as Christmas gifts.
Yeah.
Because they were so cheap, and it was just like, here you have a little assistant. And then now the grandkids come over and they're like, hey, Mama, Alexa, play a little Nas, and that was cute back when it was playing a cow, but now it's not. So then they let Alexa turn it off. I'm sorry, this is my house all of a sudden.
Alexa,
all right, yeah, back to your house. So you haven't had any yet, maybe?
Not yet.
You have no experience with talking to them?
No, because I guess my old roommates had one that it turned the lights on and off. That was kind of neat, and you could have it do like different moods and stuff in the living room.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
That was cool, but it seemed to me like I like to have to get up and be responsible for turning lights on and off and things. Like I don't like to have someone else do it for me. Unless it's a boyfriend, at which point
that's the job for you to get up and change things and cook things and bring back the sandwich. No, I got so annoyed because my process was wake up, turn certain lights on, the coffee, the TV, the temperature, and I was like, I'm done with that. I hooked it all in. Now I just say good morning.
Wow.
All those things happen because you can program it however you want. And my whole house is that way. So like I walk into a room, turn it off, say goodbye, say I'm leaving. And of course it hasn't been connected to artificial intelligence yet, which maybe we'll talk about a little bit later, but that's coming. So where it's going to be talking back to me more and more and more. How do you feel about that?
Scared a little bit.
You don't need a friend at home?
I don't need any more attitude. I feel like it's interesting and it's like a fun thought experiment, but when it actually comes down to like, would I use such a thing? Like, would I feel comfortable inviting an artificial, like to have a conversation with me? I don't know. I don't know if I would.
I did yell at it because it doesn't work sometimes or something would go wrong, and it has talked back to me. It said like, don't talk to me that way. And I was like, damn. I'm waiting for something to come out and be like, hey, Don't talk to her like that. I'm sorry. Here's a weird one. Oh, you just moved, but maybe you might notice at your old house. Do you know your internet speeds?
No.
Someday I'm gonna have someone that knows this. I need to get some more real geeky tech people on this show except myself.
But I did. This was. I've been kind of in this phase since moving into my new place where I feel like I'm in like a Reba McEntire song because I'm just like a single woman doing everything by myself. And so I built the sofa, which was hard because like, an IKEA one that was assembled and then disassembled by other people, and I had to reassemble it. I'm working on the bed frame today, and then I was like on a roll, and I was like, I bet I can set up my own Wi-Fi. Like I bet I can handle the internet. And so I went and I picked up the router and stuff, and I sat with it for 3 hours, just looking, trying to plug it in. It was horrible. And I have, because the technician, I think he costs like $100 to come out and do it. Yeah. I am so ashamed and embarrassed of myself to go in, because of course, when I went into the store, the guy was like, "Oh, you can do it,"
Really, I feel like sometimes it used to be the way around because they want to charge you to come over.
Well, I just don't want to go back and have my tail between my legs with this guy. I mean, he was interesting though. He was like, he told me, he's like, I'm 62 years old. He had a ponytail, so I know he was cool. He's like, I'm 62 years old and I've learned how to do everything. I can set this up. I can do this. And I don't accept it when old people say, "Oh, I'm old. I can't," because that's like saying I'm stupid. Now I have to go and tell him I'm stupid, sir.
Oh man, don't use those words. I'm sure he'll be fine with it. But that's funny because I could obviously set it up really quick, and I always am like, no, I feel like they're making me do that stuff. The reason I asked that question is because I obviously know my speeds, and I think sometimes when people have problems, like I say boomers or my family, they're all like, I don't know why this works, and I look like their internet is like the company from down the street that somehow has not gone out of business, and it's like, how do you have speeds and you have 7 HD television all trying to stream Disney Plus at the same time, Gramps? You can't do that with this internet, know? You run on dial-up over here. It doesn't work that way. All right, I'm going to jump right into some tech news here. We got virtual reality gaming is coming to the Strip District. San Francisco-based virtual reality gaming company Sandbox VR is set to open in location in the terminal on Smallman Street in the Strip District of Pittsburgh. This will be the company's first location in Pennsylvania. Sandbox VR offers an immersive, full-body virtual reality platform for groups up to 6 players. The company has designed games in collaboration with EA, Sony, and Ubisoft veterans. The new location in the terminal will be 5,570 square feet and is expected to open this summer. Have you ever played VR before?
No.
That is correct.
No, I have not.
I thought you had a buzzer.
I have never played VR. I don't even really understand what full body virtual reality means, but I'm curious about it.
Well, I'm sure what they mean there is since they would have a huge place, this is why they're talking, they have a 5,000 square feet place, is not only will you have the VR goggles on you, they probably give you a vest that vibrates. Maybe there's actual things around that you could bump or touch or something like that. So it's more immersive than just having the VR. Do you play games? Have you ever played video games? Are you a gamer at all?
What do you think?
I don't know. Surprise me. Actually, I love Mario Kart, or I'm addicted that one game or something like that.
I have not really had a long history with gaming and never really played games. I guess when I was a kid, my brothers had this James Bond game.
Oh, yes.
I never played it per se, but I watched them play it.
Because he played it like crazy,
and
right?
Various phrases stuck with me from it. There's one room he would go in and there's this box and he goes, fireworks. I remember that.
For you not having an experience, you just rattled off such a meme experience that so many people were Leonardo DiCaprio right there. I remember that part. That is a very famous, great game. One of the first earlier games that you could have all your friends just load into the room and just play that for hours and hours and hours. So that's crazy. So you got to give a chance to either go down to the Strip District, or if anyone actually has a Oculus, I guess they're called Meta now. I forget. They keep changing the name. I'm sorry. They're called a Meta Quest. And I obviously have one at home. And at first, the first one was like, meh. The second one, I was like starting to play. And they got this game, which was like a Call of Duty game, basically. And they upgraded a map that was just flat, basically running through forests. And it basically, like, imagine if you just built on it. So build a city on it. And it was like life-changing. I went to the game and I was like, wow, this is real. And then I could hear everybody. And then from there on, it's completely immersed for me. So at first, I know for a lot of people, like, you get headaches and stuff, but it took me about a month to really like get over that. And then the excitement of playing does something else to you where you kind of only start to focus on the game, and then your brain kind of gets rid of any other feelings you have, whatever else, and then you're in the game. And here's the crazy thing about playing these type of games. Since it's the resolution is not like full-blown how your life is right now yet, it is the memory of playing in VR is like amazing. So if I went and played a game with you in VR for 20 minutes, I feel like I would know every second, every moment that happened. You brought that up because it's like being rendered at such a lower rate. And so I'm going through images that are smaller. So obviously I'm taking in all this room right now and I've been here before, so that should count. But if I was in somewhere new, like my memory is like picking and choosing stuff to remember. But if I only had to memorize what's right here the whole time in a sense of like pixel space, that's what happens. So that's a weird thing that I have noticed. And I think that is like a weird thing that's going to lock in like learning. Yeah, so you can say, go into like and learn how to fly a plane or learn how to, I don't know, just regular education of reading a book and learning about the planets and stuff like that. And it's like, wow, I know that really, really well. So given what you said and what I said, do you have enough interest that you would think you would do it?
I think I would try it. I mean, it was somewhat alarming after you said, well, the headaches go away after a month.
It is true.
It's like, wow, you know, once you get locked in the world and the pain even goes away.
I did say that very scary, like, I apologize. You're right.
Other than that, yeah, it sounds like
sounds awesome. It sounds awesome.
No, I think it would be definitely something that I would do just for the experience so I can say that I have. Mm-hmm. I think that, like, I don't know, it just seems, I love picturing those things though, like, you know, all these people in this room with this stuff on.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm being like, and they're
yeah.
Like, having their own little experiences. It's kind of crazy to me, but
I know the audience can't see, but this is what you would kind of look like. Kind of what I said. You got the goggles on, and you have guns, and then there's like a vest on you, and then you think you look like this.
Yeah, you think you look really thick, but actually you think you look like a goober.
So my daughter recently has been playing more because the software is getting better. The one other thing happened about the headaches was I got a better like fitting battery, and like the weight was distributed better, and then like that kind of made me like, be able to sit in there longer, and her too. So it is like that. So now she plays a lot, and I go in there, and she says she's playing dodgeball, and I go in there, and she's like, and she's like killing, she's really good at it because she probably plays maybe about 20 minutes every other day. And she does work up a sweat, so that is kind of cool.
That's a good workout, I guess.
Until it's just plugged directly in, you know, and she's just in the corner. She's like, Dad, I'm winning everything. It's just so much fun.
Oh, my God.
But that's terrible. I hope that wouldn't happen. But right now, it is like walking up, and she does look like a huge goober, and whatever game she's playing, she's like just like doing like hula hoop stuff in her bedroom.
Wow.
So, but it looks like fun to me.
It seems like the kind of thing that my parents would not have let us have.
Do you know what? I like it for a couple reasons. One, right now it's exercise, and two, it's better than her on the computer because then she's typing. I can't see. She clicks away. Now I can kind of hear who she's talking to and stuff.
Right.
So it's just like if she's playing with other people, I can hear it. So it's I find that better. Anyways, maybe we'll come back into some VR. You seemed a little nervous. You think I scared you away from that? We'll get you to try it some other time. So let's go to another thing here. AI Godfather, the Godfather, quits Google. Jeffrey Hinton, one of the godfathers of AI, has left Google to speak openly about the risk of artificial intelligence. Hinton, who contributed to the creation of ChatGPT and Google Bard, now has concerns about the competition between Microsoft's OpenAI-infused Bing and Google, which could lead to a world filled with fake imagery and text, making it hard to discern truth. Hard to discern truth. Hinton also fears the long-term impact of AI on job loss and the potential threat to humanity as AI starts to write and run its own code. So do you think AI is going to take over the world? That's my question to you.
Well, all I can say is just hearing you say that blurb, it is really the beginning of a sci-fi plot, because there's always the one guy who's like involved and he knows the secrets and he's like, you guys should be scared.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as that happens, that's like the first horseman of the apocalypse, right? Like that's it. But I think it's interesting because it's like there's all that that's going on with the AI element of the writer's strike right now.
Yeah.
The writer's strike. And they're saying, like the studios were not responsive to their desire to regulate the AI in terms of like someone going in and saying, okay, well, this part of the screenplay sucks. Let's just get the AI to punch it up.
Yeah.
And so it completely devalues, my entire profession. And so I think, but then it's like we all want to also think like, oh, they couldn't do what I do.
Yeah, I know. And that's what my dad would say, or other people would say, like, it doesn't have a soul. I'm like, but if once it has enough data.
Yeah, but it's also like, okay, it doesn't have a soul, but the way that, you already would write like a Hallmark rom-com is a formula. They don't really have souls. It's about, it's about really finding your soul in the heart of love. But no, it's soulless. And on page 13 of the screenplay is when there's going to be an inciting incident. When it's going to happen.
I know.
That to me is like, okay, maybe like the boring work could go to AI, but I don't want to be replaced.
Yeah, and that is kind of what it's like, the boring, easy, just task work. It's just like, obvious. You're right. So things that didn't have a soul. So that part of Hollywood where it was like just very formulatic and you just like plug in like, right, this is the climax, this is where this goes, and then boom, screenplay. I know a guy, and that gets made. And so now that's just going to be AI. But if you, I guess, have a real craft and have real opinions and you're really good, you still get to the top? Will there be like less people, less jobs maybe then?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. It seems it's a very strange landscape and I'm interested in looking at it. And I think it's somewhat alarming, but also like, I don't think that humans will let it happen. Like, I feel like because we're all going to be so biased, like the minute you're told, oh, this was made by AI or whatever, you're like, oh, it sucks.
Yeah.
Like being told like, I don't know, it's the opposite, but in the same family as like when you look at a painting and you're like, and they're like, oh, this was made by an elephant. You're like, oh, I like it now. Because like, it would be shitty if a man made that, but an elephant did it, so it's cool. So it's like the inverse of that is, this screenplay was written by AI. Oh, I hate it.
Yeah. This was made by a human, and then even though it sucks, it doesn't matter because we're flipped on the other side of that time. Maybe AI is making really good stuff, and the humans make, but you want that instead.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy how it's going to go. What sometimes I think, and this is how I think business is happening anyways, and the pandemic showed this, so many people in jobs, especially like huge corporate jobs, don't have a job. They're kind of useless. They're like middlemen. They're not really, if you would pull them out, like nothing would change. And is that possible that it's also happening in the creative, in the arts, where there's so many people that aren't really making anything great anyways? It's their job. They're like, I'm an artist. Like, are you? Really? You're really just doing what we think AI could do anyways. You're not that good. So and then they're like, I lost my job. Like, no, you were a bad artist. Is that
you were bad?
You were a bad artist. Like, you were a bad business manager. You were just not good at your jobs. That's why you're losing your jobs, not because AI came and took everyone's jobs.
Right. Yeah, like AI doesn't have soft skills.
Soft skills. Oh, and that's definitely a corporate term too, by the way.
Yeah.
So actually, I think I was about to forward through this, and I think I had a blurb about CEOs. Okay, this was a report by The Hustle, suggests that replacing CEOs with AI-powered robots may be a viable option. The primary function of most CEOs, particularly in long-established firms, is to measure business growth. Much of the work can be outsourced. Given the high salaries of CEOs, automating their tasks using AI could be cost-effective, an alternative. While AI cannot perform social networking tasks like playing golf, it has the potential to manage most of other responsibilities. So, like, we could just also outsource CEOs to AI.
But that AI can't play golf, and that's the most important.
Yeah, I think that's the most important part.
As a golfer myself, I'd like to see it try.
So what are your sports? I know I'm jumping completely back to the front. Brought it up before. I'm going to guess tennis?
I love tennis. Yes. Volleyball always hurt my wrists.
Oh, okay. All right.
Delicate little flower. Well, I rejected athletics for a long time, and then I realized like it would be an absolute waste.
Okay. Right.
So I was on the crew team in high school.
Oh, crew team.
Yeah, scary, but good. An AI could probably do that.
Could I? Yeah, probably. I could see it
already like robots and do it.
I mean, isn't that like a portion of the Facebooks or the social movie, whatever? Like there's guys who are like on the row team. Yeah. See, there's a connection there. Somehow.
Yeah, there is.
That happened.
So I did that. I haven't touched an oar since I retired. But I play tennis. I love golf. I've recently become obsessed with golf. That's my latest thing.
Okay.
It's all I think about.
I would love to be obsessed with golf. It does seem like a sport that I mean, I've played it. I really enjoyed it. I think twice ever did I not put the ball. Like I didn't lose. Like one time I didn't lose my ball and I was like ecstatic.
Yeah.
So I could do it again. But were you always kind of good at it?
Well, I never do anything I'm not good at.
I see. Right.
Unfortunately. No, but I immediately really liked it. I didn't like the clothes at first, and then I got into it more and started to figure out what I can wear, so it's okay. But
sorry I laughed at that. That was just it was like that was the one thing I didn't like, the wardrobe.
I didn't know about that, but I feel like it's a great game, and it's like ultimately I've met some fascinating people. For a while I would only go on dates with people if they would take me to play 18 holes of golf, and so you can learn a lot about someone.
That's actually great. It's also very specific. I would love that if I was. Did you tell these men like, listen, this is how we're doing it? That's great because I don't have to worry about choosing anything. Like we're going golfing,
but they would get really upset
because you kicked their ass,
or they would try to give me like all these little pointers, and it starts off as cute, but then they're giving me bad advice, and it's like, you know what, stop. So I actually went so far as to talk to a golf psychologist, and I've actually taken this with me for a long time, and I was like, should golfers ever date each other? And she was like, probably not, but there are ways to work around it. And one thing that you can say if someone is giving you unsolicited feedback on golf or on anything in your life is, I know what I need to work on, so I'm only accepting compliments at this time.
So, all right, I apologize if I take that and make it a shirt. Because
it's amazing.
It probably is a shirt already, but that's hilarious and awesome. So it's okay. Golf, is that it then? You're not diving back into anything else?
Well, what else have I freaking tried to do? I tried to play lacrosse. That was bad for me. I did cheerleading. They tried to hide me in the back during that. They couldn't hide me.
Yeah, they can't hide me.
That's awesome. It's crazy. So right now I'm actually a group exercise instructor. So I've just been like taken on to like a Jane Fonda type role.
Yeah. I mean, like you people want to look at you. You take up a lot of space.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I always love like great comedians. I truly believe are tall and lanky. Jim Carrey, he's like.
Yeah, you have to be able to do weird
You
stuff.
Gotta like really reach the edge of the screen and the frame so people can look at you, and I'm sure you're able to do that quite well.
Yeah.
So
I'm like that Da Vinci study.
Dude, there is your next comedy album right there. You got that. That could just be
got the cover,
and just like, and then if you look real, the measurements are like ridiculous.
Yeah.
The wingspan's like 10 feet. If you look real close, I think that's fun.
Like the measurements that some comics would use for their wieners.
Yeah. So how is comedy going? You're cracking me up so far. How is comedy going?
God, it's going well. I love doing it. I really like making people laugh. I feel a certain call to entertain, so it makes me happy to go out. I think it's, finding that balance between how often I go to mics and how often I just don't.
Yeah.
interesting. So I was taking a brief little moment where I didn't go to mics a lot, but now I actually like miss just being out in the world and like
Yeah.
social charge.
I think I use it as an excuse because once I realized, I'm just not going to hang out with my friends. It's just not going to happen by itself.
Yeah.
I had to find like ways to do things. And when I try to do mics at the time, it was that thing. It was like, well, I need to go there because only I can feel I can socialize.
Well, I think it's like, it's not even like socialization so much for me. It's like I only get stuff done if I'm being watched. Like I need to like, I always need to like work in public. Like if I'm writing something, I need to go sit at or a coffee shop because just in case someone is like, wow, I want to come talk to you and ask you what you're doing or like whatever. Like I always need to be like under observation, basically.
That's great. Like in fourth grade when my like teacher would come up and they just stare at you while you work the whole time.
That's my dream. I read about this cafe in Tokyo where they like when you go in and you order, you can select how much you want them to monitor your goals. So you're like, I want to write I want to write 20 pages of a screenplay. They can say, okay, do you want mild, medium, or hot observation? And mild observation, they'll come over and be like, do you need another coffee? How are you doing? How many pages have you gotten? Moderate, they're like, a little bit more aggressive and hard. They like won't let you leave.
Oh my God. It's like, okay, we'll be your boss for you. Yeah. That is so crazy. And they make you pay them.
Yeah.
That's an ingenious. I love that.
It is.
Japanese got everything figured out.
They do.
There.
Yeah. So that to me is so brilliant because it's like, you can just go in and they will, because I'm very ritualistic and I love like, I don't love punishment, but I want someone to threaten me with something.
Yeah, you need like
a lot of the time.
Like instead of having a deadline, you just need someone there with a whip behind you.
Yeah, exactly.
People have their things. I
need that, or I need someone to be like, wow, that girl over there is so mysterious and she's working so hard. Meanwhile, I'm just like writing dumb jokes, dumb jokes.
But there is something to that because like getting on stage is kind of punishment, especially when even I was gonna say when you're not doing good, even when you are doing good, because sometimes the crowd's just not paying attention or not into it and don't care what you're saying, and it's hard. It's like, do I suck? Does this joke suck? Does everything suck? I don't understand what's happening right now.
No, it's so funny because it's like if you tell anybody that you do comedy, the first thing is like, make me laugh.
I know, tell me a joke.
It's like, well, you've been laughing, right? Like, trust me.
Yeah, all of a sudden, you're having a long conversation, laughing so hard. Oh, you're so wonderful and hilarious. Oh, you're a comedian? Tell me a joke.
Tell me a joke. Make me laugh. Yeah.
It's not funny. I don't think you're a funny person, actually. I think
I think you should get a different hobby.
Not connecting the two at all. How long have you been doing comedy, though?
I've been doing stand-up for about a year now, actually a little less than a year. I'm coming up on my anniversary. So,
nice.
But been writing forever.
Yeah, I can tell. I feel this vibe. It's almost like when you talk, I don't know this is how your head works or all. Like something comes out and I'm like, did she write this before the show? Like, I don't understand. How is she doing this? Like, I don't have that many notes. Where's my assistant? So, do you feel your brain works like that? Are you saying things you've thought of or said before, or do you just have that writer in you?
I think it's a little bit of that. I think it's that I like to be deliberate with the words that I say. I don't want to necessarily have too much filler in my speech, and I think that does make a difference. Just when you're talking to somebody that I just said.
Yeah.
Canceled the power of everything. But I don't know. I am fascinated with words, and I like the way that certain phrases can come together, so I'm always trying to play with it.
That's so interesting. I wish more comedians would think like you. And I think what happens for a lot is they are very charismatic and they do have the talent to grab an audience and like, look at me and I'm funny, and then there's nothing after that.
Right.
Like, and maybe they do put some thoughts and ideas they've had, like this is a funny concept, and they string a couple things together, and with their abilities, to honestly, to even have a career. But like I said, I'm like, oh my God, if you would just fill your bag with like some thought, finish that out, like write that out, spend some time. And then now you're just out there just killing, murdering instead of just kind of doing good.
Well, I think it's a kind of safe little purgatory to refuse to finish a joke to its or see it to its end because you can live there and then you don't have to be afraid of failure.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's like,
true.
oh, I know the premise is good. I don't know how to finish it, but I'm going to keep going out and delivering the premise because it's enough. Like I get
enough.
a little bit of dopamine.
Oh,
from
yeah.
that. And it's like, yeah.
I think you just described my bitterness of the comedy to me. Because, I don't know if we haven't talked enough, but like years ago, over 10 years ago, that's how I kind of got started doing everything. I was in the comedy scene a little bit, trying and test it out like that. And then I started doing more video and such, and I've seen all these people come through, and I've had that feeling for them where like, oh man, that's funny, it's really good. And they get off like, that's good. And then like later, I'm like, I ended. Where's the climax? Finish me.
Yeah, like do it.
Where is the where I want you to peak. I know I'm making it very sexual right now, but I'm trying not.
But it's not.
But it's not. It's not sexual. I'm cheering for my friends and colleagues. I just want them to get this. That part where it's like the movie's like turning off at the end every single time I watch some of these acts.
Right. Well, yeah. It's like the too heavy of a reliance on a cliffhanger when really.
Yeah.
Because that's trendy in movies too, is to be like, let's leave it ambiguous, and then you ask them why it's ambiguous, and they're like, so that you can decide. It's like, you don't want to decide. You decide for me.
Yeah, it's because it's the hard part. It's the real writing part, and that's funny because there was a whole stream, not so much on TikTok, I saw that, but I saw it a lot on Snapchat, where they would have a video, and it'd be like a really stupid setup thing because they thought that would be funny, and then it didn't happen at the end, because it would loop, and you'd be like, and then so you would go to the profile hoping like there's a part 2, but there was never a part 2.
Never a part 2.
It was just clickbait, and like they got you. And I get very emotional with my social media.
Yeah. Would you say that TikTok is your most emotion, that pulls the most emotion out of you, or do you have another one?
Oh, I got a bunch of them. I got legit ones. Like that's one like I just hate how creators use the platform. Like I don't like how I got. I don't like that. I do like how people figure it out and using it in a weird way, or how they get so like what we were talking about earlier, how to weaponize incompetence, which was this new woman's viral thing. And I'm just like, oh my God, I see that every day. And I wonder, are these people idiots? Are they idiots on purpose? Are they lazy? Like I had this client for a while. She only would type her messages in the subject line of emails.
That's like my uncle.
Refuse. And she was running a pretty legit big company that was like in an industry that was like, she was doing things. Money was happening. Communication with her was incredibly, insanely difficult. Like, I don't know how she was organizing meetings and stuff, but all caps sometimes too. All caps
that's
in the subject line. So I would get,
admire.
Yeah. And I like, and then you'd have to like read it. So you'd have to like kind of scroll awkwardly to get the message. Eventually, I figured you copied and paste, but I
have to say, though, I like to send, I prefer email styles. I like to be a little bit flirty and like start in the subject, finish in the body.
Okay.
I'll say, what are you thinking about heating up on Tuesday?
It's like you're making TikToks inside emails. You're such a writer. Anything you talk, it's all intricate. So I have gotten really, I think I'm really good with emails because I've gotten so annoyed with other people's emails. And I think emailing is still the number one way to communicate with, especially for business, but for people to actually get things done. I know we've talked about like Discord and Slack, and I think there's other ways, but professionally, I believe it's the email. And I like how you think about that because I am so on the sense of like, what is the end user experience? And so I know most people, to get through that first sentence of an email it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work. And so you got to have something there. So when I see someone's email and it's 3 paragraphs, I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, no, and half of it is like, please find attached. Like, no, I just say I attached. Attached is. But don't tell me how to go through finding your attachment. It makes me crazy. That's probably my biggest email pet peeve is like, please find attached.
Please find attached in this button below. But, there are some people that just have no idea. I think one time I applied for a job a long time ago, and I sent my resume as a PDF. And the email came back to me. He goes, well, we don't really do well with PDFs. I did not email or anything back. That was end of communication with that place. It was just like, you're crazy.
I think it's great that I was so scared to come onto a tech podcast because I was like, oh, I don't really know what I'm doing. Like, I thought I was being punked when you asked me to be on this, and now we're here like talking about email. Like, it's the modern thing.
I know.
We're like this.
It's exciting. People do get weirded out, and like, because they're like, oh, what am I? I'm not going to know how to talk about tech. Oh, you believe me. You live it, everyone. I need to get a boomer on here to really freak them out, because then they'll actually be like, what are we talking about? And it's subject matter.
Yeah, it's like it is crazy, though, because, like, it's not like I'm not an anti, I'm not a total Luddite. I'm not like,
yeah.
But I do write in a physical notebook and whatever, but I don't, here's the thing, it's hard to describe this because I do certain things to try to be like cute, appealing, or attractive. And writing in a notebook would maybe be one of them, but it's actually not.
I love that you think it is. I love that. That's cute. Okay, that's attractive that you think writing in a notebook is cute. I feel like that's something my daughter would say too. She goes like, this is what cute girls do. They put all their thoughts into here, and then your notebook is like, so the fart lady at the Walmart was really, really farting it up today. Insert joke, because I can't write as well as you.
This is just honestly become hot girl, cute girl 101.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. But like to really hone back to emails, and I'm trying to get things done. It's really what it is, right? It's how we communicate with each other. I'm trying to communicate with you quickly because I want this person to do something. Like, do you find that you have to do techniques since that you are a writer? Do you find like, oh, this person's older, I gotta type this way. This person's or have you found yourself going, what am I writing? They're never gonna read anything.
I try to remain respectfully voicey. Like, I could try to be myself in emails, especially if it's a cold call type email where it's a person that I don't, that doesn't really know me yet.
Yeah. Introducing yourself.
I don't do anything totally risky in the email, but I will try to be specifically and singularly myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have a few techniques of like, I'll look up something about them and have a joke that's not too stalkery, but is like a little bit like,
No,
of course I can't come up with.
I know
right now.
That's a great thing to like immediately like show like humanity in a sense. Like, I know who you are, and I need this thing done. Yeah.
And everyone just wants to be seen. Everyone wants to be Googleable, and we mostly are. So just put in the one step of effort to do it, and someone will probably get back to you.
Yeah, that's how I do this show. That's how I actually before I used to have like a talk show in a friend's basement, and this is when more people were on Twitter, and this Vine was a thing, and I would find people that like had like a lot of followers, and then just like, hey, you want to come on a show? They're like, okay, yeah. They're like, whoa, this is crazy. How did I get you on here? This is great.
Yeah.
So everyone's on the internet now.
Everyone is.
You can tell we're at the end of the podcast where I'm just like, this is words and stuff to entertain a podcast. And the rule of like radio is like you can't have radio silence. So there is a thing in the back of my head where like if I'm silent for too long, and even if you like have a normal pause on me, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's not talking. I need to find something.
Say this.
Yeah, I need to say this. When I was referring to, I had a guest that was meh before. But the anxiety I was feeling because I would throw it to him, or maybe didn't do a great job of throwing to him, but it was his turn. I already threw him out there as a male. It was his turn to talk. It would be like, yes, this I got this. It's smart out there in the pits.
Yeah, so thank you for joining me today. It's because yes, when you're recording a podcast, it's not the time for like, I'm so comfortable sitting in silence with you.
Yeah, I know. It's not. It's not, but maybe I need to get used to that. So you kind of talked about a couple of things that you're doing, but you say you're a writer, or you're doing comedy.
Yeah.
Like, do you have like a short film that you're thinking about, or is there a podcast you're like, I'm doing this podcast soon because it sounds like that's the thing to do now?
Podcasts are the thing to do now, but it's interesting. I haven't started one yet. That'll be the final frontier.
Right.
Let's see. Well, I have this play that's in development right now that I'm trying to produce. It still needs to find, the appropriate form /home. I have this screenplay that I wrote that actually won an award. And so now I'm trying to find representation in people that would like to produce said film, but that's probably kind of on pause with the writer's strike right now.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
That's crazy, right?
now I just have to hone my craft.
Yeah, how are you here? Aren't you on strike? How'd I get you here today? You're immediately, oh shit.
I'm just like, I'm just a scab.
Well, I very much appreciate you coming on then. To be honest, we'll talk about that real quick at the end, because I just want to remember. I remember living through that in a sense of like just kind of having more of a peak sense of like TV entertainment at that time, and be like, oh, what's this thing happening? And the most notable thing I remember was all of a sudden all of late night sucked except for Conan. Suddenly, like all of a sudden they all were terrible, and it was I didn't care to watch, but Conan. Like, I think I'm more of a fan now because of that time. What was your sense about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, like, it's like we're at a point now, because, like, yeah, compared to, like, 2007, like, now we're at a point where people have even more demand for just, like, endless content. So it'll be really interesting to see if it'll, like, freak out. There are a lot of things that have already, been put in the works and made. So it's like we'll get our appetites sated for a while. But I think, like, it is important, I think, for the public imagination to realize, like, oh wow, the writers really do have a lot of power and like can control what we get and not get. And
but what if like my daughter, who pretty much watches TikTok as her main, like, TV's quite secondary, and if we do put television on, it's YouTube,
right?
That's what she watches, and everything's streaming, and all the people she watches is from that content. And you probably get down into it, those people aren't in the union, or anything like that. So it makes me think, like, how's the strike going to end? Because it's, those builders watch it anyway. Everyone's watching TikTok.
It's a scary though.
You're going to get hired from someone on TikTok, it sounds like.
Yeah, it sounds like I'm going to be mad. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's like, it's sort of like, I think, yes, it's a profession. Yes, it's a career. People should be paid a good wage to write and create content for the people, like for streaming, for Netflix, Amazon, HBO, whatever. But also it's like, I think it's like, yeah, if you're a showrunner, I get it. Like, go on strike, like, be this. But if you're like the level I'm at, which is like still, getting out there, getting my stuff out there, it's like, I don't know if I deserve rights. I don't know.
That's so funny. Like, I don't even know. I'll write for TikTok.
It's like, you want me to do something on TikTok? I can do it.
You're already doing the baby voices. It's not like you're halfway there. I'll just pull up a video game on the bottom half. We got a fucking show, All right, you want any plugs before we wrap this show up?
All right, I've got a show May 21st at the Espresso Amano in Lawrenceville at, I forget which time, but I think it's 7. And then I have on June 2nd, which is a Friday, a women in comedy show at the Hop Farm Brewing Company.
Sounds very sexist. No men. Okay.
No men. And
sorry, I don't want to throw that out there.
And that's what I got.
Yeah. What's your handles up there on the social medias?
Find me on Instagram at Kate Conde Hamilton. That's KateCondeHamilton. Also www.katecondehamilton.com.
See, you are a 3-name. You should have let me say it.
And if you want to look at my TikToks, which I have not posted in a long time, that's at Kate on a Hot Tin Roof.
Oh, I really like that. That's a great one. All right, well, thanks for being on the show, and thanks for watching Smart House on the Pits. All the news stories can be found on the Smart House Facebook page and soon on Reddit. FYI, artificial intelligence is used a lot to make this show, so take that as you may. Check out www.thepitts.company, where you can find endless amount of funny and informative content from Pittsburgh. Smart House is produced by thegateway.media, the gateway to all your media needs. Guys, this has been Smart House. Thanks for watching.